Hey everybody, Sean Tierney here from theautomationblog.com, and in this episode of the Automation Minute, we're going to configure communications to a MicroLogix 1500, and then we're going to download a program to it. Now, before we get started, I want to throw up some links to previous episodes in which we took a tour of the MicroLogix 1500's hardware, where I talked to you about the cables needed to program the 1500, as well as the software needed to program the 1500. So with that said, now let's move on and actually set up communications to our 1500. Now, the first thing I need to do over here is find out which COM port my USB to serial adapter is set for. And we can see here my key span is COM port 3. I found that under ports in Device Manager in Windows. So I'll close that up, and now I'll open up RS Links Classic. And here in RS Links Classic, I'll go to Communications, Configure Drivers, and I will select the RS-232 DF1 Devices driver and click Add New. I'll leave the default name and click on OK. And here I'll set COM3. Now, I could manually set all these other settings, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna click on this Auto Configure button, and look, it was successful. Now, if it's not successful for you, it could be a couple of different things. Occasionally, you'll get a bad COM port on the unit or a bad cable, although that's very rare. More than likely, if you have a problem with this auto configure, it's going to be that the port isn't set up for the default DF1. If that happens, you can actually just press the button underneath the cover there to set it back to default comms. You'll get the default comm light that will come on, and that'll set it back to DF1 full duplex, which is what we're trying to use here to communicate to it. Now, to see where that button is, check out our previous video where we did a hardware tour of the actual 1500 hardware, but just wanted to point that out. If it doesn't connect, try hitting that button and putting it back into default comms. If the port's set up for something else like Modbus or DF1 half duplex or DH45, this isn't going to work. So keep that in mind. So let's get back to completing the setup of our driver here, and we'll close the Configure Drivers window. And now I'll double click on the driver. And here we can see our MicroLogix 1500. So let's go ahead and minimize RS Links. And I'm going to open up RSLogix 500. Now, you don't have to use RSLogix 500. Despite what ab.com says, you can actually use RSLogix Micro. And there's more information about that in the previous video I linked to earlier. But in this case, we're going to do File New inside of RSLogix 500. And we will scroll down until we find our processor. We have an LSP here. I'm just going to choose Series A and click on OK. And now this isn't meant to be a ladder logic tutorial. That's covered in my training course. So I'm just going to put together a very quick rung of logic here to test out our MicroLogix 1500. So let me just start with an XIO. We'll use T4:0/done. And then we'll start a branch here, and we will put in a timer, a TON, using T4:0 with a time base of 1 second and a preset of 1000, no accumulate. And on the next branch, we'll put in a move, and we will move that timer's accumulate value over to the outputs. And we'll end the branch. Okay, so let's verify this program, make sure it's good. It is, no problems. So let's go to download it. Now, a lot of people gravitate to this drop down right here. You don't want to do that, because if you don't have the right driver selected, you'll get a timeout, and people get frustrated about that. No, what you want to do instead is go to Comms, System Comms. And from there, you'll be able to browse through the RS Links, RS Who, and see your controller and actually select it. And now we'll select Download, and we'll save. And yeah, we'll overwrite the file already existing on our hard drive. And now it's telling us, hey, do you really want to download this file set for this processor to overwrite this file in this processor? And yes, we do. So we'll select yes, and it's downloading, and it's complete. Now it asks if we want to go online. Sure. And while we're there, let's go ahead and put it into the run mode. We can do this because it's already in the remote mode. There's a little toggle switch. As you'll see in the previous hardware tour, there's a toggle switch on there for the run mode. And since it's in remote, we can put it into run mode from the software. Okay, and now as the timer times up and we move those timer accumulate value into the outputs, we can hear the relays clicking. And if we zoom in on here, we can see the different outputs coming on and off. And I don't know if you can see the LEDs with all the glare from the lights, but if you could, they would mimic the lights, the values we're seeing here in the output data table. And because that's annoying after a while, I'm going to put it back in the program mode. And if you found this video helpful and you would like to learn how to program all of the MicroLogix controllers, and which would help you with the SLC 500 as well, because they're almost identical, I want to recommend you check out my PLC training courses. Now, PLC Basics 2nd edition is on sale right now at theautomationschool.com for less than the price of a video game. You can buy it as a digital copy, you can buy it as a DVD, you can buy it as a bundle, and it's nearly 5 hours in length. It's totally re-recorded this year. And for those of you, I got students in 45 different countries, and some of those countries are fairly poor. So for those students who've contacted me over the years saying, hey, do you have a lower cost option? I actually re-released my original Kickstarter-funded 2013 PLC Basics course and renamed it PLC Core Basics. It's been boiled down to just 2 hours, and you can buy it either digitally or you can buy the DVDs. I think it starts at, right now it's on sale below $20, so it's a great value. Again, if you can afford it, if you work for a Fortune 500 company and you're making billions, I recommend getting the $60 one, it's under $60 right now actually, and PLC Basics 2nd edition. And or if you already know PLCs, but you have somebody in your plant or a friend who needs to learn them, maybe get it for them as a gift. In any case, if you liked this episode and you found it helpful and you'd like to see more free episodes published, then why not support the show? For as little as $3 a month, you can actually become a premium backer and back the show, and I'll give you $10 worth of free downloads every month for your backing. So that includes up to 5 episodes of the Automation Minute that you'll be able to download totally free each and every month. So consider it. And with that, that's the end of this episode. Until next time, peace.